Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and the 50% custom gear unequip event is now on for the next 3 days. So what I thought I would do is, as soon as possible, aka right now, make a video discussing all 25 characters that I am contemplating unequipping a CTP for. Now I have a ton of characters that have CTPs. I have a ton of CTPs, so this list may not exhaustively touch on every single character that you were considering, but I feel like I should aim for as many characters as possible on my account, because that will give me as many opportunities as possible to explain different characters that I think maybe don't deserve a CTP anymore or have some sort of future potential or whatever, because there's quite a few reasons why you might unequip a CTP. Obviously, the most common reason is probably for a character like Winter Soldier. You put a CTP on them before and they just haven't gotten anything recently in the last year, 2 years, whatever. They just haven't produced for you. They just don't do anything on your roster. You use them once a week for Shadowland and that's it. So you want to move it on to a new character that is doing a lot more for you on your current roster, like Sentry or another tier 3 that you just got or whatever. But there are more reasons than that to unequip or move a CTP. So I wanted to give you guys advice. I wanted to remind you of this event, and I also want to tell you there's 3 days to do it. So if you don't have the crystals now for it, or if you're just not sure about certain characters, you can give it a day or two to sleep on it, think about it, get some other opinions of other people, and come to a conclusion. So I'm going to go through all 25 of these characters. There are 3 characters that I'm not quite sure of right now. I'm not 100% sure that I want to unequip for them, but I'm going to be unequipping most of these as I go through them and talk about them. I'm not 100% sure about Cyclops either, just because I feel bad about Cyclops, but he is one of my 25, and the reason being, he's got a rage, and I don't use him for anything. I just use him as a leadership for null, that's it. So if anything, he could get a CTP of insight, but yeah, so that's the case for Cyclops. I'm also not 100% sure about Storm. I feel bad taking her energy off, but again, I'm not using her for anything except a support for null, so I could give her a rage and she could do more damage and be more sort of playable because she's not that proc friendly, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. Crescent, this one's coming off immediately, although she is a tier 3. The only thing I was using her for is ABX, Alliance Battle Extreme, and I don't need her anymore because Valkyrie doubles her score or more. Yeah, so I was getting about 2.5 million with Crescent with a rage. I can get at least 5 million plus with Valkyrie with a rage. So cheaper investment and more production, and she's an amazing support for null. Captain America actually wasn't on my list, but I did favorite him. I favorited all of the characters on my list, so there's a little bit of spoilers coming up, but I did favorite Captain America because I've already gotten a lot of people asking me, should they equip their rage, energy, destruction, whatever CTP they have on Captain America. Captain America, I kind of want to say yes. He's not very good for the current endgame content. He's not going to cap in ABX. There's a lot of combat heroes that have just eclipsed him recently, like Moon Knight, Venom, and then you have villains like Carnage, etc., who just blow him out of the water. And there's better blast villains now in Moonstone, and then we're probably expecting some blast villains to come around in the future as well. So Cap, yeah. And the other thing is, as much as we meme about Cap getting 2 uniforms in 2 months, he may never get a uniform again, or it may take a long time for him to get a uniform. It seems like the devs understood that we don't want repeat uniforms for characters that have gotten uniforms lately, and they haven't done that. They haven't made that mistake since Captain America, right? So yeah, I don't think Captain America is really worth heavily investing into at this point. So I would say, if he's not on your radar for unequipping, that you should maybe think about it. I can afford to float a rage because I'm a whale. So yeah, Iron Man here taking off his regen. I know some of you I love you 3000 people are going to be upset about this, but yeah, he's not very good with a regen. He's not good for PvP. That is why I gave him a regen way back, but he just doesn't cut it. So yeah, Winter Soldier also doesn't cut it like Iron Man and Crescent, but the reason why I'm also unequipping his energy, one, I don't use him for anything. If I was going to use him for anything, it would be for a leadership for null, but we still don't know if we're going to be getting Disney Plus updates, right? We still don't have an update, or we still don't have any sneak peeks or anything for WandaVision, so it's possible that WandaVision is going to come and go. We get nothing in Marvel Future Fight. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to come and go, and we're going to get nothing. But if we do get something for Winter Soldier, I want to unequip his CTP now ahead of time so that I can then experiment with him if he gets a uniform. Now that's a big if, and I am spending 300 crystals up front for something that I'm speculating on. So again, this is not something that any player is going to be able to do, but if you're a big time Winter Soldier fan, but you don't use him at this point and you're got an energy or a rage sitting on him that you could use on someone else, then it might be a good sort of future investment that you do now. I am also unequipping this because I don't know if we're going to be getting another one of these. We might. It would be great if we got this once a month or once every 2 months, because then I wouldn't have to make these sorts of snap decisions, right? I wouldn't have to make these sort of speculative decisions, and there's a lot more of these speculative decisions coming in the next few characters. But I have the crystals, I can afford it, and so I'm doing it, but I could be wrong and it could be a waste, right? Winter Soldier could get nothing. Winter Soldier could get no... I know this is hard to hear, but it's possible. Winter Soldier gets nothing for the next year, and then I guess I could have equipped the energy, or I could have just kept it on him and just not had the energy and saved the crystals, right? So, yeah. Next up is Red Guardian. I kind of feel bad about this one too, because I do use him a little bit in story mode. He's one of the required characters right now, and I use him in Shadowland as well, but again, I don't use him for anything, and it's an energy just sitting there. I am actually going to pause on Red Guardian at the moment, but he is one of the 25 that I was considering. Dr. Doom here, as much as I don't really need another CTP of authority, I am going to be unequipping it because it's only 300 crystals. Would I pay 300 crystals for a random CTP? Yeah, I probably would. And if they change the CTP reforging system, if they make it more accessible or whatever, maybe I could try that in the future. I don't know. But the main reason why I'm unequipping the CTP is because I'm guessing, again, I sort of guessed it last year and I was wrong, but I'm again guessing this year that we're going to get a uniform and a tier 3 for Dr. Doom. So I want to have him fresh and naked, not like that, ready for testing with an obelisk first and then moving into the CTPs. So at that point, if he does get a tier 3 in a uniform and I don't have a discount, then I'm going to spend the full 600. So I'd rather spend the 300 now instead of spending the 600 down the road. It's a lot of sort of speculative spending here. Dormammu is the last character that I am, or the second last character that I am hesitating on unequipping his Judgment. A lot of people really like the Judgment on him. I kind of want to give him a rage, but yeah, so I'm actually keeping it at the moment, but I'm thinking about it. Strife is another one, just like Dr. Doom. I am anticipating a uniform and a tier 3, or at least a tier 3 for Strife, so I want to have him fresh and sort of untouched, ready to build, ready to experiment with different builds, see if PvE or PvP is the way to go, and I really don't use Strife for anything. Juggernaut is just sad. I gave him this CTP 2 years ago, in 2019, in March of 2019, and I literally have used Juggernaut for nothing. I did a few showcase videos for him against Proxima stage 50 or 60 when that was actually difficult content 2 years ago, and since then I literally used Juggernaut for nothing. There are some weeks where I don't even use him in Shadowland. He's got an amazing character model. And beautiful animations, but he just does not keep up. He didn't even keep up with the meta when he was released. He really should have been released with a higher base power level a la Namor, because as a paywall character, he just does not compare to other paywall characters. They drop the ball with a lot of the mutants, and Juggernaut's one of them. Sabretooth sadly falls into the very similar category as Juggernaut does. It kind of pains me to take his energy off, but he got a uniform, and then again he was eclipsed not that long after, and there's just so many better combat characters, combat males, and then even combat villains, right? Apocalypse tier 3, Carnage tier 3, they're just ripping and running. If in the future he gets a rework, he already has a good uniform, so all he needs is like a tier 3 or a Transcendence, and he could be really good. But at the moment, he's just used for Proxima World Boss, and I really don't need him for that. Bishop. This one's tough for me. I had like a top 100, top 50 Bishop. He was really fun for a few months in PvP against Captain Marvel when she was the best, but you're probably scratching your head wondering what I just said. Yeah, Captain Marvel used to be the best character in PvP. She used to be on every PvP team. 2 years ago, let me tell you, Shunny Jim, 2 years ago, there was no Sentry, but there was Captain Marvel everywhere. She was the cosmic equivalent of our Sentry now, and she had the iframe ignore, and she was going around slapping everybody. And you know who was one of the only bargain basement bin discount counters to her? Revenge Shot, which has a really sick name. He wasn't the best counter to Captain Marvel, but he was not bad, and for a free-to-play character, that is impressive. But yeah, since then I have done absolutely nothing with Bishop, and so man, I have 3 of his gears at 25. If only I could refund the TCP. Anyways, let's move on here. Emma Frost, another mutant that the devs have completely abandoned design-wise and balance-wise. Yeah, there's not really much that needs to be said here. This is a Shadowland character and only a Shadowland character. Abomination! If anything, I'll be giving him an insight to use him as a support, and then I will be swapping Taskmaster's insight for something better if Taskmaster gets a tier 3, because we've seen Taskmaster's tier 3 in the game files, but we know that he's not out yet. But yeah, I literally use Abomination for nothing. He's not bad in Shadowland, but yeah, he doesn't need an energy to do a Shadowland stage 50 or 60. Kamala, this one is another one of those future-proofing ones. Marvel has been pushing Kamala Khan heavily. She's the main protagonist of the Marvel Avengers Crystal Dynamics Square Enix game. So I suspect that she will be getting a tier 3 sooner rather than later. So I want her to have a sort of fresh start on my roster with an obelisk when she gets her tier 3 or awakening. Again, I'm assuming she'll get it. But also, that regen didn't work out. She's almost good enough for PvP. Well, that was prior to the Sentry and Null era, so maybe not anymore. But if she got a tier 3 awakening, she could be good for PvP. Someone who's not good for PvP, and I tried and I failed miserably, is Ben Grimm. So yeah, I don't really have much to say about this, but no, don't do that. That's a bad idea. If anything, he gets an awakening. I can use him with Mr. Fantastic in World Boss Legend, and I give him an insight so that he can be a support character for the Fantastic Four. Korath, yeah. Used to be an ABX character. That was a long time ago. Oh, I don't want to reforge. Whoopsie. I want to lock. There we go. Not much to say about Korath. Nick Fury. So Nick Fury is going to combo with the next character that I want to talk about. Where is she? White Fox. I'm very confused as to whether or not I remove her insight or not. If she can get a tier 3 or awakening, then we can use her in World Boss Null. She might actually be good as a standalone character. Not sure yet, but it's possible. So I was thinking I remove her insight and I remove his regen, and then I give... Oh, I don't have enough crystals. I give his regen, or I keep his regen in my inbox, and I give the insight to Nick Fury. That's what I was thinking. Anyways, I planned for this, don't worry. I went ahead and I bought the first 3 relays for the January special relay. It's very expensive to go all the way for this relay, but for those of you that are spending money on the game, the last 2 packs are crazy. The last pack especially is crazy value. I know it costs a lot more than $140 because you have to buy all of the other packs, but 15,000 crystals. Look at all that tier 3 materials. 1,800 TCP. You get 3 Titan records and 50 million gold. So that is really why I was, really, I couldn't say no to that relay. But anyways, I've already bought the first 3 steps of the relay so that I could get extra crystals, because I knew I needed about 7,000 crystals to 7,000 crystals to finish off all this unequipping. So there we go. We got our 5,000. We got our gold there, which is kind of nice. And now we continue on our escapade to unequip every CTP that I ever got ever. This is going to screw up my inventory, yes, but it also means that I don't have to gamble for a long time. So I think this is... Oh, right. Ronin. Some of you guys are going to get really irritated with this one. I just don't use him for anything. Hawkeye, I kind of feel bad for him. He's the last Avenger that doesn't have a tier 3. He could get a tier 3, at which point I would want to start fresh with him. But yeah, it sounds like a bad Subway ad. I'm just thinking fresh at this point, and so I'm going to do it. Sorry. White Fox, I'm still on a question mark on her. Morgan Le Fay, yikes. Long time ago, she was good for Universal Female Villain ABX, believe it or not, but she definitely does not deserve a CTP of energy. She's not that strong. Lil Nova, again, 300 crystals for an authority is expensive, but if he gets a tier 3 or an awakening, he could be really, really good. So I want to sort of have this one waiting in the wings. Yeah, that was a yike moment. Rescue does not deserve a CTP of energy. Sorry, Tony. No, just not good enough. Okay, yeah, Hela. Yeah, Hela and Black Cat were the last 2. So I'm going to take the insight off of Black Cat because I don't use her as a support anymore, and I actually do need the insights. I only have 3. Hela, this is the last one. This would be the last one. Would you pay 300 crystals for a Transcendence? I guess I paid 300 crystals for 2 authorities already. But yeah, I'm not too sure about this one because I do have a lot of Transcendences sitting in my inventory. I have 5. So yeah, I guess these are the last one. These are the ones left. I was going to unequip Hela's for the same reason as I did for Strife and Doctor Doom that I'm assuming she's going to be getting a rework soon, and I'm going to want to sort of rebuild her from the ground up. But I guess if you take away all of the other favorited ones, we're still left with Cyclops, Storm, Dormammu, White Fox, Red Guardian, and now Hela. So those are the 6 that I'm kind of hesitant to pull the trigger on. Hit me up in the comments down below. Hopefully this has helped you decide what characters you want to unequip and why. But in general, we don't get these events around very often, so we may not get another unequip event until like the anniversary, which is at the end of April. So yeah, I'm not saying you have to unequip right now, but it is something to consider, especially if it's going to give you a big bump in a specific area like ABX or World Boss or whatever for the next few months. That might be worth the 300 crystal investment now, right? So yeah. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.